And on top of all of this, YouTube Trev, who thinks he's very good at guessing when somebody has just recently got a haircut, says CJ recently got a haircut. Chris, can you confirm or deny?
I can confirm. Tuesday haircut. So wow. I'm pretty freshly shorn.
Good work, Trev. Oh, and the beard too, he's saying. You did the beard. You trimmed out the beard a bit too. Okay. All right.
Yes, and I have a confession to make.
Okay.
This was almost the first. I almost missed our hit today.
Oh, no.
Because I am in Italy. I'm in Milan right now, and I literally forgot it was Friday. I got on a plane. I don't know why, and then it's obviously mid-afternoon here, and I just nearly missed our hit entirely, and that would have been a first. But I'm glad. I looked at my emails like, oh no, got to get to the Nielsen show.
Okay, let me say this: you are coming home before the Olympics, right? You're not just out there already.
I am coming home before the Olympics. Good. I'm just here. They're actually having the test events this weekend. It's the first games played in that main Olympic rink. I'm 2 or 3 hours from seeing it with my own eyes for the first time. And so they sent me over just in case something goes wrong or to get a sense of what the hell's actually happening here.
Wow, you are boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground, baby.
I thought I saw a picture yesterday of like a dressing room that wasn't even framed yet. I don't know. I mean, is it as bad as everybody's saying?
Are you good with the hammer?
What are you expecting? Yeah, are they going to put you to work?
Well, what I can tell you is there was supposed to be a tour today for like the federations, like Hockey Canada's people here, obviously the other countries as well, at 2:00 today, and it got pushed back to 6. And the only way I interpret that is they are spending 4 hours. I can only imagine what the scene must be like, just rushing to try to get this thing looking somewhat presentable. So, someone told me you're not going to have a hard time finding things that are wrong, that are not right. I don't know how bad it's going to be. Honestly, I don't want to even guess. Maybe, I don't know about you guys. I'm a good last minute guy with a lot of things. So maybe because they know the company's showing up that they're going to be able to get the house in order here. I don't know, but it's definitely going to be a construction site to some degree. They're going to play professional hockey games on the sheet this weekend. That's probably the most important thing. I mean, if they don't have one of the bathrooms of the concourse done, there's still a month to do that. But whether or not this ice is up to having the best players on earth play on it is probably the biggest question. So we'll just have to see how it all goes.
All right, Chris Johnston joins us from Italy this morning, where probably all the way over there, they are talking about Connor McDavid and what he's been doing lately. 2 more points for McDavid last night. He's on an all-time heater right now, a 17-game stretch where he's basically producing at about a 200-point pace. And I know a lot of things have gone wrong for the Jets over the last little while, but can't really blame him for not shutting down McDavid, can you?
I cannot. I mean, you guys have watched this player so closely for so long that I think it's easy to maybe take for granted a little bit how special he is at times. But this heater is insane. I mean, even by his own standards, he's going off, which, frankly, they probably are excited about it over here in Milan because they're going to get to see it with their own eyes, presumably in a few weeks. And it could be a very good thing for Team Canada that he's in this kind of form. But, in the moment, it's the best thing for the Oilers because, he's helped them put a lot of points in the standings over the last month plus. And unfortunately for Winnipeg, it does continue a trend for them. They've not just lost 11 in a row. They've lost a number of games from being ahead the way they were against Edmonton last night. And so it's kind of a tale of two sides of things here. But McDavid is on one of these special runs. I think, he's put himself for sure in the conversation for the Hart Trophies, obviously surged back in and taken the lead in the scoring race. And, it's pretty cool to see him at that level. And especially with all the circumstances of this year, it's a massive season for the Oilers, goes without saying, as they try to get over the top and win that cup. And he's got a chance to bring home a gold medal too.
You are at the site of the Olympics, so let's just get your thoughts on, I don't know if you spent any time looking into it, but who do you think plays with McDavid on Team Canada?
It's the question, isn't it? Yeah. And I would say looking back at that Four Nations tournament, they didn't really find it sounds silly to say. He scored the goal that won the tournament. It was a nice pass from Mitch Marner kicking it out from the boards behind the net. But he had started with Marner on his wing, and then that changed throughout the tournament, wasn't working, and then it went back there. I don't know if they found line mates that I'd say were ideal for him. And I don't put that on Connor's shoulders. I think he's probably a tough guy to play with because he does everything at such a rate of speed. And if you're not used to it, it's hard to say. Like, to me, I would be fascinated to see him with Celebrini. I think Celebrini, the way he's come on this season, I mean, he's had an electric week too, obviously with the goals and the assist in LA for the Sharks win there. I think he's got to be in Canada's top 6. So for me, he's either on McDavid's wing or McKinnon's wing. Crosby and McKinnon seem to like playing together at the Four Nations. So maybe it makes sense to have Celebrini on the left side of McDavid. And then, on the right, it could be Marner. I don't think Stone fits there. I mean,
could be Reinhart again, maybe. Hey, it could be
Reinhart. Yeah, that might be it. Celebrini, McDavid, Reinhart, and then you're rolling with McKinnon. Crosby on the left, McKinnon, Marner. I guess I don't know. It's tough to say.
Reinhart. You could flip Reinhart and put Marner just back with McDavid and Celebrini. I mean, that could be something.
Yeah. But I mean, the problem, right, is that it's not an all-star game and there's only one puck, right? And so many of these players are the guy on their team. And I think finding that fit can be a little bit of a juggling act. In fact, when I look back on the Olympics I covered, I was in Vancouver and Sochi both. Each time the Lions that started the tournament wasn't where it ended up. Like, I think that Canada always has to sort of put things in the blender. Now that we're in this rhythm, though, that there's tournaments every 2 years, and obviously this is the second in as many years, maybe we'll start to actually see more continuity. But it's a bit of an unknown, and I don't really know where they're going to go with Connor just yet.
Chris, I wanted your thoughts on what I'm not a hardo when it comes to Ottawa Senators Twitter. You'll have to forgive me on that. But yesterday when I see, and I just your overall thoughts on this, and we don't need to get in, I guess, to the details, but when you see a statement put out on Twitter from the president of hockey ops and GM Steve Staios addressing, quote unquote, fabricated and false stories that are spreading around online, because we come in here today and we're like, you don't know too much about it. This gives more air and light to it.
I had no idea anything was going on until
and I think it's the Barbara Streisand effect where you come out and address something like that. I mean, it's not every day you see sports franchises addressing just online. Online rumors happen, every sport and every team all the time. But to get an official statement put out by the GM, what's your sense of what's going on in Ottawa with that?
Well, I've been around this league a long time. That's going to be one of the more bizarre things I've ever seen. For all the reasons you're correctly saying, like, there is no world you and I are talking about this right now unless that statement comes out. And I know we're not going to get into the rumors, but like, I was, I probably don't live as online as some younger people out there. So I was completely unaware of this story as well until the statement. And then you see a statement, and the way it's written, not exactly professional, referencing whatever. Like, it's just, the whole thing is weird. I'm not sure what they were trying to achieve. I mean, look, I can understand why it would be frustrating if you're an organization, you see some of the stuff out there about one of your players, you want to defend him, you want to say he's got the right to time away. I mean, we've seen a number of players take personal leave, and I think in most cases the privacy of those players is respected. And certainly by the working media, like, I didn't see anything reported with what I'll call reputably on this. Very strange that they would choose to address it. I'm sure it's not easy living your life in public as a public figure like Linus Ullmark is, and have these things be said, especially if they are as untrue as the Senator statement says. Like, I mean, it's hurtful and harmful, I guess. But I do think it's more harmful now that this has been addressed by the team, because I think it creates the circumstances when Ullmark does eventually return to the dressing room, like, he's going to be asked about this. And I don't think that would have been the case by a reporter. I mean, that wouldn't have been the case had it just been online rumors and speculation. Like, you wouldn't believe some of the crazy stuff I hear, like rumors and things like that. I mean, obviously I kind of travel in gossip circles. That's part of the job of, we call it being an insider, but basically, like, I'm talking to people around the league and what are you hearing? What's going on with this team? You do hear a lot of crazy stuff that never comes into the public realm. I would put this on that level. Like, you do hear sort of these kind of whispers from time to time, but you would never repeat them publicly, never report them. And I don't think anyone would have in this case. So I think it's probably a PR misstep by the Sens. And I almost feel worse for Ullmark, quite honestly, because I do think he will now have to be asked about these allegations because the Senators have kind of given them oxygen.
CJ, before I let you go, just a quick thought on, like, the Jets have lost 11 in a row. They blew a 3-1 lead. The Oilers outshot them. Or they allowed 2 shots against in the last 26 minutes last night. Chevy came out earlier in the week and was like, we're going to stay the course. Is this just what this season is now for the Winnipeg Jets, or is there something that they can do to turn it around?
It's a tough question. I mean, 11 in a row, like it's hard to have that many losses in a row. And I know they picked up a few points along the way, but and still in the playoffs now. I look at the Western standings, the bottom half. There's not a lot of movement down there. It's more of a playoff crawl than a playoff race at this point for those final wildcard spots. So, I'm sure there's some degree of thoughts in the back of the mind, Kevin Cheveldayoff and Mark Chipman, the owner, that, hey, if we get hot, if we stem the tide here, that they might be able to get back into a playoff race. But I think at a certain point, they're going to have to be honest with themselves. To go from the President's Trophy to 32nd, in January the following season is not something you see happen very often. I don't think mentally, I don't get the sense that they've got to the point where they feel they have to sell, but I still think they could get there. I believe they've got some meetings later this month where they'll sort of start to plan out what are we going to do at the deadline, how are we going to approach, the decisions for March 6th. And they have a bunch. I mean, they're an old team, right? Like they have a lot of older players that I think could be moved out. No one that's going to get them a haul, but maybe that's the course they have to take. I still think they're reeling a little bit from this. That they haven't got to the bottom of why this is happening. I think that they're as stunned as we might be from the outside. So, it's really tough times there. I was around them about a week ago, and they've done nothing but lose since then too. And it already seemed bad then. So I can only imagine the atmosphere around the team. And there's definitely a sense of like shock that they've fallen this far this season. And, I think they're going to have to embrace some youth. Honestly, they have, I think, the oldest team in the league. The youngest player on their roster is Perfetti, who I believe is 24. So, look at the trend around the league. Like, who are the most exciting teams right now? It's the teams that have gone younger, and obviously they've added superstar talent. The Jets are now in position where they might have the number one pick this year. Like that. Yeah. It's a stark turn of events. I think they have to embrace that opportunity rather than dwell in the whys and the hows, but they're definitely not there yet internally.
And just one quick one, we'll let you don your hard hat and tool belt after this. But the Anaheim Ducks, Pacific Division, very much up for grabs. We saw them fly out of the gate earlier on, 1-8-1 in their past 10. Are the Ducks more closer to what we saw or what we're seeing right now?
I think they're more closer to what you saw, but I mean, obviously a bit of a fragile group and it's embodied. If you look at Leo Carlson's stat line, I don't have it in front of me, but I know if you look at that 10-game stretch, he's barely put up any points and not been as effective. I mean, I think that he's not a one-man team. There's other, enticing players there, but he had such a great start to the year and, he's their first line center. I think he's the most important project they've got in Anaheim in terms of turning the ship around and becoming an elite team if he becomes an elite player. So, I think, incubating him, getting him back up to speed will help a lot. But yeah, this is the weirdest season. I'm going to just come out and say it that I've seen in the NHL. It's so many, making sense of the standings it's a moving target. The Sharks, they're hanging in. The Ducks, like it's just, I don't know who's really good, who's not. But yeah. I certainly think Anaheim is a better team than what they've shown in the last few weeks. But they're in it right now, and they've got to find a way to get back there because I do think there's a playoff spot there for them if they can just kind of steady the ship a little bit.
TJ, we appreciate you connecting from Italy, and I cannot wait to see you reporting on what the heck is going on over there. Enjoy that tour today.
You know what? I heard a story last night. So someone told me that they knew a guy that just went up to the rink here like 2 weeks ago, put on a hard hat and had a coffee. And he walked up to the front door and he just said, "Buongiorno" to the guys, and they let him in. And he just was a guy off the street, like walked into this rink. Like, honestly, I don't think there'd be nothing like this in North America. Like, if we were building in any city, like for an Olympic arena, first of all, it would be done way before now. Yeah. But I don't know what I'm going to find. It's going to be interesting.
It's just after 3:00 there, right? It's like 3:20 right now. I looked it up. Okay. Isn't most of the country napping right now? Don't they all have naps in the afternoon? Isn't that a thing?
Yeah, it is. And the first game is at 7 local. So in 3.5 hours, you're going to start from me, or I don't know if there's other reporters here, but you'll start to see actual pictures from in that arena that we'll be tweeting out or whatever. So there'll be updates on this through the day to see just how much of a construction site this Olympic rink is.
All right. Good stuff, man. We'll chat with you next week. Safe travels.
Okay, see you, boys.
There you go. That's Chris Johnston.
Juno.
There is a story.
That's all you got to do.
That somebody put on a hard hat, had a coffee, walked up and said, "Buongiorno." They let him in to come see the rink.
That's all it takes.
Italy is different, man. My God. Although I'm totally in support of the napping thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I nap anyway. So, and I'm in Canada.
Fit right in.
Yeah, I'd love it over there.